headed to Giants camp. Russell Wilson named the starter, according to Brian Daboll, who said, quote, guys will be out here competing, but Russ is the starter. Done. No more talking about that. Giants open up their season in Washington before going to Dallas and then hosting the Chiefs. Was it the right move to name Russ the starter already?
I don't get it, Brew. I know Russ is your guy, but Jameis is also your guy, and for all I know, you've always liked Jackson Dart, just quietly by yourself. That happens sometimes. It's not as if the salary dictates. We just, you know what I mean? Everyone's going to know because he's making 35 and then Jameis making 4. Right. I understand that someone has to take starter reps, but that can also alternate. And I do not think that Russell Wilson's last 4 years, dating back to his final year in Seattle when the great Pete Carroll drugged them to 9 wins, or certainly the last 3 years in Denver when Sean Payton, who everybody loves, was like, I can't get rid of you quickly enough. And when Mike Tomlin, who everybody loves, was like, we'd actually rather bring back Justin Fields because they offered him more money than they did Russell Wilson, that it makes sense to just say, yeah, this guy's earned the job when he hasn't earned it yet. Now, I think he probably would win the job because Dart's more of a project late first-round pick and Jameis is Jameis. I just, Brew, don't see what's gained by just announcing it's his job.
I agree with you so much that I kind of think this means, and maybe I'm maybe I'm wrong about this. I think it means he's starting camp as our starter. He's first on the depth chart. He will get most of the starters' reps, but it's still a competition. That's how I'm taking it. Because I agree that it doesn't make, why in the world do you have to pencil in or write it in pen right now that Russell Wilson's the starter? I agree with you. I think he would win the job, but I don't think you need to go into camp like this. He hasn't been good enough the last few years where he just automatically gets the job. I think you go in there with an open competition with Russ first on the depth chart and then see how it goes. Now, I'm not one of those guys that believes just because you drafted a quarterback that you like in the first round, second round, whatever, that you got to throw him right in.
Correct.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, they sat their first year. So if they can sit their first year, anybody can sit his first year. I think a lot of quarterbacks would benefit from that. So I'm fine with having, if Wilson plays the whole year and Dart sits, but I would let it be a competition. And so I agree. The only thing that makes sense, I guess, is that we know this coaching staff and front office is on the hot seat. They want to get out to a good start, and you know you have a proven starter in Russell Wilson.
Do you buy anything, Brew? Because you always talk about the power of the New York media, of just eliminating distractions. I'm going to answer this once. We're not going to get into it. Like, we're done. Like, let's move forward. And a little bit of, like, the leadership of Russ. Like, Russ doesn't have to look over his shoulder to Jackson Dart.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Right. He might be doing it. I mean, I don't mind Russ having to look over his shoulder, but you squash it now. Maybe you don't have to deal with those questions coming.
Can I make just one other point before we move on? It also makes me really question the utility of Jameis. If Jameis isn't competing
you
to
think
be
he has a shot?
I thought
should get a shot?
Yeah, I think there is a chance Jameis Winston in 2025 is as good as Russell Wilson in 2025. And when they signed both of them, I thought, okay, the two veterans, because the coaching staff's on the hot seat and they don't want to start a rookie, the two veterans are going to, fight it out for the starting job. May the best man win. You want Jackson Dart to be your backup. You know what I mean? Like even the guys who sat were backups. Well, Brady was actually fourth string, but he wasn't a first round pick, he was sixth round pick. Mahomes was Alex Smith's backup. Rodgers was Favre's backup. And so, like, that's the other part that's weird to me. It's not just Dart. It's that you have another guy who, to me, is in the same bucket of quarterbacks, which is if he is he's probably, one of the better backups in the league, but don't really want him to be your full-time starter. And so I just don't get having both of those guys.
I looked at the money that they gave Jameis compared to Russ, and it just seemed like he's definitely not starting over.
The other poetic part of this, oddly poetic, is that Russ came in and stole the job in Seattle. Not stole, earned the job, I should say. That he was a late pick, and he's like, guess what? I'm the best quarterback in the building. I'm the guy. So the fact that
yeah, but that was the old. Sorry to bring up Pete Carroll again, but that was Carroll's whole thing was we're competing for every spot, and you know what I mean. I don't care that we gave Matt Flynn $30 million, whatever it was. Right, and that to me would have made a lot more sense. And I think Russell Wilson might be better without having the starting quarterback Russell Wilson. I think humbled, I'm fighting for my job. Like I don't know. I just think it's a weird move by Dable.
Meanwhile, in Oxnard, Cowboys camp is underway, and if you think you're upset at the Cowboys' playoff ineptitude, just know that Dak Prescott even more upset. He told Clarence Hill, quote, "Criticism comes with the territory. $60 million is what it is. If I'm sensitive to the truth, I got a problem with life. Nobody's more upset. Nobody's more PO'd. Nobody's more disappointed about that than I am. Nobody wants to win more than me, bro." He didn't say that. It's just me saying it. "I'd give the money I make to win and be broke." Your reaction, bro?
Well, first of all, I feel like we get a lot of those "nobody wants it more than me" quotes from Dak.
Somebody's got to want it the least.
Right? But the first thing is just stop it, Dak.
What?
I don't blame you at all for taking the $60 million. But don't insult our intelligence and say, I would give up the money to win and be broke. And I get it. You kind of don't mean it literally.
No, I think he's just.
But you could have taken $45 million and left room for other top players. You could have taken $50 million and left money for other top players. You had to go get 60. Again, I'm fine with that. Not mad at you at all. But don't sit here and say, that doesn't matter. It clearly matters.
Well, and it's also, the thing is this, the NFL is not the NBA. The NBA, you can't redo deals. You know what I mean? Your deal is your deal. The NFL, you can restructure anytime you want. You know what I mean? Any moment you want, because teams make players do it all the time. Like, we're going to cut you unless you take a massive pay cut. So Dak literally could go to Jerry today and be like, you know what, I've thought about it. Let's rip this thing up and I'll do 5 years for 10. It's obviously not literal. Right. Now is to be charitable. Here's a reading of it. If someone came to me, a genie, and said, "You're a 2-time defending Super Bowl champion, but we're zeroing out your bank account," I would say yes to that deal. Now again, I don't know that he would. I don't know that he should. I don't know that anybody actually would. But that to me feels more like what he's saying, like I would trade it all for a ring, but simply taking less money would not have guaranteed me a ring. It would have just guaranteed that I wouldn't have the money.
Yes.
But it is a bit of a ham-fisted quote in a hard-capped league when at any point you can take less money. And so I don't really buy it.
Finally, Commanders camp. Missing Terry McLaurin. He's unhappy. Last week he said it's hard to see how he'd step on the field without some progress in the negotiations on the last year of a 3-year, $68 million deal. So, Brew, I'm going to ask you the question, then I'm going to show you a full screen. Our question is, should Jayden be worried? Here are the stats. When Jayden is targeting Terry McLaurin's completion percentage 66, 1,100 yards per pass 9.5, 15 touchdowns with a passer rating of 128. That's second best in the league behind only Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, should Jayden be worried?
Well, I thought you might have one that shows his numbers without McLaurin.
Oh.
That would have been
bad job, Wilds. Gosh, you really
Josh,
am I right, though?
I just got embarrassed
I'd like to see a comparison.
What do you want me to do, buddy?
I'm just saying his numbers were great
It's a
overall.
good stat.
Maybe. It's a good stat, but maybe it was close to as good without McLaurin.
I'm sure it wasn't. Josh, was he good without McLaurin?
See how quickly
targeting other guys.
Give me a
He
break.
had a 115.
So then when he's not targeting McLaurin, it's like a little over 100.
All right, let him go then. If this is the type of attitude, you can come join the Patriots. We got plenty of cap space.
You should be concerned because he's your best receiver, obviously, and you're a deep ball thrower. He's your best deep ball threat. One of the greatest deep ball threats in the league. So
91.8 when targeting everyone else.
Okay, so there. See,
you know what?
That's great. they should be really
I need to be pushed. I appreciate
There you go.
that. That's called iron sharpens
That's
iron.
the
You don't
Ben
do that.
Johnson.
I put up a stat, you're just like, oh, that's interesting. This guy's trying to make me better.
You're right. In the history of the show, I think that's the first time ever someone's put up a full screen that they had made, and the response was, "Why isn't there more? Where's the?"
Well, I cut my teeth at the New York.
That's right.
Times.
I'm getting better at being here.
Go ahead, bro.
But no, look. Here's the baffling thing, and I think McLaurin is great. I don't think he's, top 5 receiver in the league. So I get
But
that you
that's
might
6 to
not
15.
want to give that money. But you don't want to give that money up. But this is the benefit when you have a quarterback who's really good in his rookie scale. This is what you're supposed to do. You're not paying him much,
That's right.
so you go out and pay the other guys
But
so you can maybe win a Super
They
Bowl.
kind of
So,
have, though.
Yeah, they Tunsil and
they
they've
traded
done
for
some
Laramie
things, Debo.
Tunsil. They have done a lot to upgrade the offense.
But they got to get McLaurin. And they will.
No, right. I mean,
I'm sure
I
they will.
think that this is going to be one of those deals where he gets either a nominal raise or what, you know what I mean? I don't think this is going to be all of a sudden Terry McLaurin,
something million.
yeah, gets a brand new, between T. Higgins and Jamar Chase deal.
Yeah.
It is interesting to me, though, Wilds, that he is flat not there. That he is, and once you cross that Rubicon in the new CBA NFL, where it's $50,000 a day and the team is not allowed to forgive those fines, you back yourself into a bit of a corner at times. This is what happened with my guy Chris Jones when he so badly just wanted to be back playing for the Chiefs 2 years ago.
It's $50,000. So by the end of the week, you could be down $250.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just saying that's a lot of money if you're only making.
for.
Well, I mean, he's making a decent amount of money. I know,
he's on
but
a second
still.
contract. He's on a 3-year, $68 million deal. But that again,
Losing $250,000 in a week, you're
no.
like, well, now I can't.
If you miss that's what happens. If you miss all of training camp, it's about $1 million. And you know what I mean? Like that's real money. It doesn't matter how much money you make.
Yeah.
And then you feel like, well, now I need a new deal just to be whole on the previous thing.
Yes.
And so it can be really tricky. I also think, now I felt this way, and it's weird, because I felt this way about the Texans and Packers last year, that I thought they got, were maybe a little overvalued based on the great first year by their young quarterbacks, making the playoffs, winning a playoff game, and that they were both due for a bit of, at least one of them was going to fall flat. Oddly, it feels like they both regressed teams-wise from where we expected, but they both ended up making the playoffs, and the Texans even won a playoff game. But so it was kind of right and wrong. I'm worried about the Commanders. I just feel like they have the biggest variance of realistic outcomes just about any team in the league. You know what I mean? I think it is totally in play they make the Super Bowl, and I think it is totally in play they go 7-10. And I know that sounds like a total cop-out of a take, but when so much of your year was, I can't believe they won that game. You know what I mean? That the Jayden magic at the end, that usually evens out a bit. Right. When Jayden had, one of the greatest rookie seasons ever, does that even out a bit? I still think the defense is problematic. They traded for Marshawn Lattimore. He had trouble staying healthy. He then was awful in the playoffs. Awful's probably right. That's how he played in the playoffs. So I think that at the very least, the thing they have to have is this connection back, which was, as I thought, great graphic.
Thank you.
Showed was one of the more, reliable, one of the more reliable connections in the league.
It turns 30 in September, so.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to give him 3 extra years. I wouldn't, but I also, like Bruce said, I would want to maximize this season right now. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.